Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J is live. We in the building, ready to do this here show that we do for y'all every single week. We got a lot to get into tonight. We got special guests in the room that I'll introduce to y'all momentarily, but y'all know what week this is, the fourth Monday, so you already got a hint as to who we have in the room. So we're going to have our Diva Diaries later on. We got a lot of what the hell questions to ask. We got statutory rape versus child rape. We got evangelists taking money from people in churches. And yo, check it. What they was doing at that Donald Trump rally this weekend is going to have you kind of bugging out. But we'll talk about it when it's time. And it's time for the show. Ain't no half stepping right now.
Yeah. It's about that time. It's about that time to get. Yeah.
Button your lip. Open your ears. Strap on your thinking cap. Socially conscious talk that's entertaining with a dash of humor and the top sports stories of the week. It's time for Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J.
Sellers has Jordan. Jordan with 2 seconds to go. Puts it up and scores at the buzzer. Michael Jordan has won it for Chicago. Manning lobs it. Burris alone. Touchdown, New York.
Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. He hits one deep to right center. That ball is out of here. The Yankees win the pennant.
If they lying,
then they must be
stepping.
Yeah.
Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J is live. We in the building. Be down with us tonight at 804-402-2893. Be down with the flagship show, Legacy Internet Radio. You heard him just now helping me out. I'm going to introduce him here in a minute, but we got a lot to get into. Led off with some of it there at the very beginning. Hopefully I didn't freak y'all too much out with the intro and stuff that we're going to talk about tonight. But hey, man, we got to do it too. We asking what the hell, we asking fair or foul, and we got the dating pool diva in the room with the Diva Diaries. I'll introduce her here momentarily. We've got our sponsors, of course, Live Action Captions, Free Spirit Enterprises, and Joseph Lewis Insurance. And so we want to thank them for helping to bring you the flagship show of Legacy Internet Radio every single week right here on Legacy Internet Radio. You hear this brother from time to time when he has a chance to come and fellowship with us here in the den. He named it the den, so we're going to continue on with that trend. This is my brother over here. We know him as comedian Jay Grizzy. What's up, brother?
What's going on, Marcus J? Oh yeah, dig it.
Yeah, man. You in rare form again for the second show in a row.
I feel good, brother.
Yeah, so we're gonna be doing impressions most of the night. Is that what we're gonna do?
Well, right now, this is my Macho Man Randy Savage impression. You never know what might come out tonight, dig it.
Oh man, you almost sound like him a little bit there too.
I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for having me.
I can dig it, man. I'm not gonna do no impressions because then people will stop listening to the show and they'll turn us off. But you can do as many as you want. I can dig it.
I got plenty.
You got more.
I got more.
I can dig it. Ain't no half step with Marcus J. You hear this sister every single fourth Monday of the month. She brings us the Dating Pool Diva Diary. She is the Dating Pool Diva. She is an author, and she is also Free Spirit Enterprise. She is our sister and yours, the Dating Pool Diva author Christmas up in this joint. What's up, sis?
What's going on?
I'm doing fabulous. This is the first time in a long time we've had two sponsors in the building. Of course, I'm not going to ask him to come to the mic, but Live Action Captions is in the building here tonight, so we appreciate him as well. So what's up, Diva? How you doing?
I'm good. I don't have different impressions like Jay Griffin.
You can't do that?
We're going to say that. I've seen some of your impressions before.
You've seen me do impressions?
Mm-hmm.
What are they?
Super powerful Afro puff girl. What's
my
the
black
other?
power side?
Your black power side.
Super powerful Afro girl.
Yeah,
is that what you
Asada Shakur.
yeah.
Nina Simone. You get the whole. It's good impressions though.
I can dig.
That's what. That's the segment you represent.
Juices and berries, right?
Juices and berries.
Yeah, I just got my Afro Woman T-shirt.
Yeah.
From our sponsor.
Live action
Live
captions.
action captions.
You gonna hear that about 55
Oh,
times
yeah,
a day.
Yeah, I'm gonna be
Just 'cause-
rocking my pro-black side tonight.
No doubt. Well, I'm very happy. Of course, our sponsors help us do this. So if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be able to produce
True.
Legacy Internet Radio, Ain't No Half Steppin', Marcus J, and the shows that we have here, Live in Radio, Uptown Lounge, Listening Party, All Throttle Radio, the pregame, and the Amplified Gospel Show. So we wouldn't be able to do it without Live Action Captions, Free Spirit Enterprises, and Joseph Lewis Insurance. So we thank them. Y'all ready to get into the show, man?
Yes, sir.
Ready?
All right, now I debated on whether I wanted to talk about this, but when I realized that I was going to have a comic in the room, I was going to open it up and just let you have a little fun as long as it's clean.
Yeah.
As long as it's clean,
brother.
Fun, because it's not the Green Room version 2.0 with Jay
You put me,
Grizzy.
look, hold on, let's say that he's putting me on notice
Yeah.
right now, ladies and gentlemen. You should see he cut his eyes like Grizzy. I don't need no N-bombs. I don't need no
F-bombs.
F-bombs are my favorite.
I know, man. I
know,
know.
so
And
what I will say-
and I love those too. I just don't do it on the show.
No. What I will give you is the bombs. I'm going to say bomb.
When
That's
you-
going to be the replacement word.
All right, well, all right, I can dig
That's
it.
close? That's good?
That's good enough, man.
That's good.
Now-
Because the family, the people out there know what I mean.
No, I can dig it. I can dig it. Oh, one other thank you. Thank you to our brother Dave in L.A., David Wren.
What up, Dave?
Who I was very, very honored to be able to join him on his show last Thursday. He hosts a show called Black Economics on the Empowerment Radio Network. And
I'm on the Facebook joint.
He asked me to join him, and we spent an hour together. And we talked about a variety of things, but I was honored to be on there. So if there's any folks that were listening to that show that day and they're listening to us tonight on the strength of that, thank you for joining us here on Ain't No Half Step with Marcus J on Legacy Internet Radio. All right, let's get to the show. Jared Fogle.
The kid toucher?
The kid toucher. Now, here's the thing, Diva and Grizz.
Yeah, what's your issue with the kid toucher?
Well, I mean, when I was looking at, you know me, everything's going to be sort of, I'm looking at it with a third, well, for me, a fifth eye, since I wear glasses, but.
Right. You see, I put mine on.
No, 6, because your third eye has glasses.
It's double. Yeah, my third eye has glasses, right, exactly. That was good. I like that. You've been hanging out with this guy over here. With him looking at the way things were being reported, one word that I have seen missing is rape. I haven't seen statutory rape being added to the equation. This, child molestation and child porn and all of that kind of stuff. I just wanted to put that out there. I don't know if y'all care about that. I don't know if y'all even noticed that, but I at least wanted to mention it. Let's get to Jared Fogle. I found a story today, Diva. I want you in on this one first.
Okay.
Grizzly, you build it up. Jared Fogle's charity, and this is from People Magazine.
Yeah, the
they
charity.
found out, for grants for kids.
Oh, he's just total.
60% of the money they raised went to the director's salary. 26% is unaccounted for, and none of it went to grants for kids,
Wow.
as it was supposedly set out for. Jared Fogle's nonprofit organization was called the Jared Foundation, and when they went through the expenses from 2009 to 2013, this is what they found. So I guess we can start there. I know that he has been, he admitted in open court of what he did. He's going to prison. The plea deal was 5 years minimum from his lawyers they agreed to, and the prosecution agreed not to give him any more than 13 years, so he's going to be in there for 5 to 13 years. We all know just from being in America that, child molesters don't do very well in jail, so he gonna get that that foot long.
I love that joke.
Ouch.
He's gonna get and it probably won't cost him $5 either.
Nah.
It's gonna cost him more than that. Yeah, I'm sorry, I could have myself.
I'm gonna say lock them cheeks, man.
Back to what you were saying with the foundation. What is the foundation supposed to raise money for?
It was supposed to pay out $2 million annually to schools and community organizations to combat childhood obesity. But, obviously 60% of that money went towards the executive director's salary.
Which is him?
Which was his homeboy, the one that got him in
okay.
trouble, Russell Taylor, because apparently Russell Taylor, his homeboy, was the one that got caught.
He had all the kitty stuff.
He had
in
all
his
the
house.
stuff, and when they started watching him, they started seeing his direct connection to Jared, and that's how Jared got caught up. Jared was coming to Richmond and messing with teenage girls to make sure that they wasn't cops. Once he slept with them, he knew that they wasn't cops because a cop wouldn't sleep with them.
Right.
And knowing that they was young, but then he would use them girls to get him younger girls.
Wow.
And amongst the cities that he was doing this in,
Big time
Richmond was
Virginia.
one of them. When I saw that, it blew my mind. What you think?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just disgusting. I mean, I can't deal with anybody who harms children, especially rape. And I'm with you on the fact that it's just wrong for them to just say underage sex.
Is it rape though if the girl consented?
These are children.
I will say this.
Underage means
they
you're a child.
underage, but they was prostitutes. Not to say that underage prostitutes can't be raped.
Well,
I'm just saying.
well,
Children, they can't make those decisions.
They can't make those decisions, and let's be real clear. If we're having trouble with the social terms, then let's define it legally.
Right.
Legally, if you kill somebody, you murdered them.
Right.
Murder is a legal term, and
Right.
so is statutory rape.
Right.
So
he's
yes,
so I see
he
what you're
raped
saying.
them,
Statutorily, he raped them, but they was underage to not have given consent. They might have been.
Socially, we could argue in theory if you're 15 years old and you decide you want to do it, in your mind, you decided that you wanted to do it. But legally, you were raped.
Yeah, you were raped.
Right.
But especially by a grown man.
So what you think about this whole thing, Chris?
I mean, he creepy. I mean, he just a creep, yo. He getting off light. Then again, though, in 5 to 13 years, a lot of stuff can happen as retribution. Plus, I think he got to give out like $45 million. I don't know.
I think it's 1.5 million was the total, and I think it was like to be dispersed amongst the known victims.
Yeah.
That he accosted.
Here's what his case should amplify though is, childhood trafficking, sex trafficking is apparently it's a big problem in America. I'm not talking about throughout the world. We all know in other third world countries this probably goes on the regular, but on the real, it's a problem. And he came to Richmond. Now I'm thinking, what parent? Well, they probably don't know because the kid probably then ran away, or been abducted and stuff like that. So I mean, honestly, this should focus a little bit more on child trafficking and the sex trade, because without the supply, I mean, you're gonna always have a demand because there's a bunch of, I'm trying to drop a bomb, but I'm not gonna drop the bomb. But it's a bunch of punks like him that's doing real bad stuff to children and women in and of itself. So
and they're not famous.
No, and they're not famous. So I mean, but here's the thing. I would never have picked Jared to be that guy.
But that's the thing. You never would pick anybody to be that
guy
or gal to do anything. You find out when you find out.
So I mean, we sitting here right now is August 23rd, 24th, 2015, and somebody right now, some dude is out here getting, statutorily raping a teenager.
Yeah.
Right now, literally.
Yeah.
And the teenager's probably being held against her will.
I mean, when you
sometimes it can be prevented, though, in my opinion.
In which way? How?
When you have a foundation like he had, where you are supposedly helping children, there should be some kind of psychological profile or something done. Like, not everybody should be able to work with children. I mean, I know that as a counselor.
I'm gonna tell you this one thing that tells me anything about, and I don't know if it's just this country or celebrity in and of itself. Money hides a lot of stuff.
It does.
Money, a little bit of wealth, and not even 15 minutes of fame, because we all see those people that be on the Love and Hip Hops and stuff like that. We all know those are fake. I'm talking about when you just pick, you're anonymous, you lose 15 or whatever many pounds this F-bomb guy did, and I'm just good, right, Bob? He lose all this weight, and then all of a sudden, big corporation Subway say, all right, you're going to be your face of our franchise. They probably didn't check. I mean, of course, they're going to drop him like a bad habit as soon as they find out, but they probably ain't checked because they was too busy. And I'm not gonna lie, anybody still going to Subway? I went there like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. I mean, it ain't gonna change. To be honest with you, people like you and me, us probably don't go to Subway because of Jared.
No,
I go to Subway because they don't have Blimpie here.
Right. And honestly,
You know
I mean, if we want to
so,
be sticklers, all those athletes that was, Robert Griffin III, who else was on it? Michael Strahan, can they be connected? They can't. So,
I mean, I don't know that I would want to connect one man's, terrible acts with other people just because he knows them.
Right.
And, a lot of times you got to distance yourself from someone who does these heinous things, even though, anybody who logically pays attention to the situation probably knows that you don't endorse it. Perfect example, we're wrestling fans in the interest of full disclosure. The way that Hulk Hogan was completely ostracized by WWE, in my opinion, was overkill.
Brother.
And I said that on the air when it went down, and I'll say it again. I mean, he dropped the N-bomb. It was wrong. But does that mean that he wasn't the greatest star in the history of wrestling? No, of course that's not what it means, and it doesn't mean that you act like he doesn't exist, because that makes you look dumb.
Yeah.
So Subway, I get that you distance yourself from him, but if you act like he didn't exist and you act like he wasn't the face of your, as you said, franchise going forward, then I think that kind of makes you dumb. Ain't No How Steppin' with Marcus J. Live from the Den, Legacy Internet Radio. Diva, I want you in on this next one first, because as a counselor, we know that you do, in fact, work with children. You mentioned it before in the past, and, of course, just a few minutes ago. Getting this one from our local WTVR affiliate, CBS, here in Richmond, Virginia. This one is about a mom who was forced to quit as a volunteer after she complained about a youth cheer coach wearing a KKK T-shirt. Let's hear that again. This is out of Boaz, Alabama. The head of an Alabama youth cheerleading squad, he resigned from his position after he showed up to a team practice wearing a KKK T-shirt. It's a photo of it here. I'll give it to you in a minute after I read the rest of this article. But a photo is of the team's vice president, Brian McCracken, and his homie, was shared by the parents. One of the parents says, "It's awful. I mean it. I don't stand for it. I don't want my kids around it. No one wants their kids around that." This is what parent and former volunteer coach Kaylee Tipton said. And when the league commissioner got wind of the situation, they said, quote, "We ended up taking care of the situation. We informed the parents they are no longer allowed to wear the type of shirt at any functions. We have zero tolerance, blah, blah, freaking blah." More, but
came close, bro.
Yeah, I almost did. Yep, I did. Despite the mother's concerns, she was, of course, disciplined herself by being asked not to come back as a cheer coach, because there were some folks who complained about her complaining. And so, yeah, think about that one. And they didn't want their children to be held responsible, because, kids is mean. So, if this one guy is disciplined and that one's mom is the reason, other kids could have issues with that. But what Miss Tipton ended up saying is it's hard, actually, the husband of Miss Tipton, it's hard for a biracial child that is 4 or 5 years old to understand what racism is. It just outrages me and a lot of parents, but no one will stand up to it because of the consequences their children would get. So, what do you think about a couple of things here, Diva, in the story? One, does the dude have the right to wear his Ku Klux Klan T-shirt to the rally? One. And two, should the mom have been dismissed from the team? Mom is the one that didn't like his shirt.
Right.
She fussed about it, got him reprimanded. But once the heat came down, they actually asked her not to come back.
Okay, so he has the freedom of speech to have on his racist T-shirt. However, she cannot complain on the T-shirt that was racist. That makes no sense.
That's kind of the idea that we're
Yeah, that's very racist. And
I'm showing the shirt for the listeners. We're showing a copy of the photograph now.
Yeah, I'm all for, express yourself and all of that. But when you are in a situation like that where you're I won't say public, but you're playing on a team, you're cheering for a team, and you have impressionable children who don't really understand the racism behind it, and you're just going to put it out there for parents, for the public who come into the games and stuff like that. You're just going to have this racist T-shirt. I think that he should have been dismissed, and I don't think that the parents should have been dismissed because of the complaint.
Grizz, she says, I'm just disgusted because I feel like I didn't do anything wrong besides make a complaint that should have been kept private to begin with. I asked why, and she could not give me a reason.
I would have just cheerleader practice, right?
Yes.
I would have stopped practice. First, he could have stayed. I would have stopped practice, and the whole practice would have been on his ignorant butt.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I feel bad for the kid, but I mean, if you come, I mean, it was one of the parents, right?
Yes.
So the kid has to, you know, she's probably indoctrinated already if her dad is coming out rocking KKK paraphernalia. But in and of itself is an opportunity for that kid to learn a little bit more about other cultures or whatever. Because what happens is when parents, you know, and I mean, I ain't gonna lie, I've been affected by, I remember one time in 1980, I was in the 3rd grade. How old was I in the 3rd grade? What's 3rd grade age?
5
8.
plus the grade.
And
so
I
8,
never
yeah.
forget, I came home one time after school, at elementary school, and told my parents that I was going to vote for Ronald Reagan. Everybody say, for some reason, I didn't know no better.
Right.
I didn't know no better. But when I said that, I got the 5 fingers to the face. What you going to vote for that old H honky? I can say honky, can't it?
No.
Oh, sorry.
Can't say that.
I messed it up, huh?
Win for losing.
I'm just saying what my grandma said, Mark. What my grandma said, bro.
Up there with the N-word, bro.
It's right up there with the N-word.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you this. To be fair, Mark is fair. He doesn't want no racial epithets
No slurs.
done on Ain't No Half Steppin'. So I retract that. Granny, you can't teach it. I got that word from Granny, by the way. Now, Granny let me know. She was like, well, why you want to vote for him and not Jimmy Carter? Well, I just wanted somebody different to be president. But just that being said by my grandmother, or old black lady, you know, kind of gets into your brain like, you know, white people are a little different than us. And I was 8th grade. I mean, 3rd grade is 8 years old. So you can imagine, I'm getting to the point real quick. You can imagine what this little girl has already got put into her head by her parents. So I would have took that as a cheerleader coach, an opportunity to sit everybody down, and I'd have just, to the best that she probably could, in Alabama, you know, rural Alabama somewhere. Boaz is the name of the town?
Boaz.
Hey, shout out to, hey, where you from, Stan? Tennessee, ain't it? You know what it is. He know how it goes down there. He just nodded there, right? But my point is I would have took that, I would have took that as an opportunity, as a teaching moment to those young girls. And maybe it might have been a teaching moment for the actual Ku Klux Klaner that came in with the shirt on. I mean,
How so?
I mean, his daughter is right there amongst other girls who probably are a little bit more, how can I say, enlightened about other cultures, things of that nature. You know, I don't know what the instructor or the coach did, you know, but if it was me, that's what I would have done.
I'm going to talk more about this in the next segment because there's a story that I want to expound on a little bit more in the next segment. So I'm not going to say as much now as I would say then. But what I will say is, you know, ignorance is taught just like
that's right.
just like intelligence, you know, can be
learned,
you know, learned and growed. And so when you see someone who is celebrating a group that has been known to be terroristic in their activities for the entirety of their existence, then you already know what you're dealing with. And it's unfortunate that the one person who stood up and said this ain't right was outed by somebody. Because if you notice by quote, should have been kept private, but she got outed. So I would wonder, I would venture to say that in that area it's probably acceptable to either be a part of the Ku Klux Klan, or at minimum tolerate. At minimum to tolerate, and that's the sad part about it. Because if we're looking at this photograph here, you know, we're looking at little girls. I mean, we're looking at the photograph of the mom who made the complaint and some of the young girls. They little girls, y'all. They are little girls.
If I was a parent, just move out of Alabama. It ain't gonna. It ain't gonna progress.
But you know what though?
I mean, no offense to Alabamians, by the way.
Not specifically to them, because we know this shit go on everywhere. But I'm just saying, I personally, I'm not built that way to run. Like if I live here, I live here until I don't want to live here no more.
But all right, so you would stay in Virginia or Richmond, Virginia, if you knew there was a bunch of ignorant coons walking around. Coons, okay?
Probably not, but
Exactly.
I understand what you're saying.
See,
but
you know,
yeah,
I mean,
what's wrong with this guy?
I'm just
He's testing the water.
Yeah,
just
he
testing
is.
the water. I feel honestly that's the coach that got outed.
That's the
parent.
that's the parent that made.
I
the
feel
complaint
bad. I
that
feel
got
bad
outed.
because she's most teachers in and of itself are because they first they have a love for teaching kids and educating, but most teachers are progressives. They don't hold so rigidly to certain things. So I feel bad because my hat's off to you for just wanting to teach in Alabama. Them a bunch of dummies down there.
This guy, ain't no
I'm not lying. Look it up on the internet. Who's the worst ranked to Mississippi and Alabama? Can't read.
Just for those folks who think Jay Grizzly's crazy, he's not crazy because we actually did a study on the show. Well, we didn't do the study. We actually looked up a study that was done around the 2012 election cycle, and the education and intelligence of the voters based upon the states, so you
Pretty
have
low.
the smartest states versus the less smart states, and
See,
the southern
he the host.
states, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, routinely came in towards the bottom.
So is that wrong? Is it wrong?
It's not necessarily wrong,
might
but
be
I
a little
wouldn't call them
offensive.
dummies.
Yeah, it might be a little offensive.
Well, let me put it this
won't
way.
call 'em
I'll
dummies.
call them dummies. You won't. But that's what. And I don't know if this is a segue for you, but that's what Trump does. He just gets on his soapbox and says what people want to say but are afraid to say it.
Trump was one of the stories that I'm going to hold to the next segment when I mentioned, and I'm glad you said it that way, because when I mentioned that I would say more, that's why I'm going to say more.
Okay.
I'm going to hold it because there was something that went on and that's actually gives me an opportunity to do a tease. There was something that went on at a Trump rally this weekend that
It was in Alabama, wasn't it?
I believe it was in Alabama.
Yes, it was.
And
It's an Alabama show.
it will
Poor
definitely
Alabama.
raise your ire. You know how Steppin, Marcus J, live from the Dan Legacy and that radio.
You know it was going to be this much tonight.
No. It's all good, man, because this is what we do. I mean, we don't run from any story. We don't run from any kind of uncomfortable conversations. We're going to do it respectfully. We're going to do it fairly.
Looking at that picture.
Looking at the picture, what you got?
What do they think happens when they see that biracial child in Alabama? What do they think? How did that biracial child get to be there? Alabamians.
No, I can dig it because that biracial child is the child of the
coach or the teacher
of the mom who
of the mom.
Yeah.
How did that happen? There's so much. You know how some people we call self-hating blacks.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of self-hating whites out there too. And when I say that, those are the ones. And it's not when I say it's not a derogatory thing, because honestly, I don't believe that the parent in this situation is a self-hating white. She just looks at the world as the world. And I said this a couple weeks on your show, Marcus, about us looking at each other as human beings instead of what pigment is in our skin,
That's the difficult thing because we all have preconceived notions and stereotypes that we view in other cultures, but we don't want anybody to view that way towards us. And the uncomfortable exaggeration, the uncomfortable example is there's a lot of black people who think that white people would absolutely have them eradicated from the planet given the choice.
No. Because there was a lot that
because
died.
there's a lot of black people who think that about white people.
No.
And white people, you need to understand that. And a lot of that has to do with the history of this country. Is it right? No, it ain't right. But the reality is when a lot of y'all see us in a three-piece suit walk down the street versus a white dude in a trench coat, you would be more afraid of the black dude in a three-piece suit. Don't play with that. Like, keep it real with that. I think that's the problem. Like, people don't keep it 100.
Right.
That's not what you get in here. When you come here to this show, that's what you're going to get. We're going to keep it real. And we're going to put this stuff out there in your face that's going to make you uncomfortable. Just like this next story. These next two stories are going to make you really uncomfortable. This first one is about Black Lives Matter. It's about Black Lives Matter, and it's about a Fox News host, a couple of them actually, who say that it's very hard to be white today in today's climate. especially with
That's
Black
trade.
Lives Matter, and it's just, they don't know how to take it and what to say. Take a listen to this clip. We're going to talk about it when we come back. And how Steppin, Marcus J. Take a listen.
So Hillary had a meeting with Black Lives Matter. It was intense, or perhaps a conference room.
I genuinely want to know, you and your family have been, in no uncertain way, partially responsible for it, more than most. Now that you understand the consequences, what in your heart has changed that's going to change the direction of this country?
I can only tell you that I feel very committed to and responsible for doing whatever I can. Your analysis is totally fair.
It's like an angry tour guide. So after the activists objected to her giving them helpful advice, she had enough.
I stand here in your space, and I say this as respectfully as I can, but if you don't tell black people what we need to do, then we won't tell you all what you need to do.
Well, if that is
a conversation that I push back.
Respectfully, if that is your position, then I will talk only to white people about how we are going to deal with the very real problems.
That's not what I mean.
I don't believe you change hearts. I believe you change laws, you change allocation of resources, you change the way systems operate.
Someone get me a medic. This is the first time I actually sympathize with Hillary. Maybe if more people saw that, they'd like her more. Doubtful. But the reason for this meeting was because BLM had been on the warpath, so Hillary chose to meet them separately rather than risk this.
Black lives matter, white lives matter, all lives matter.
Okay. Well, ask him.
Give him a check for shutting this event down now. If you do not listen to her, your event will be shut down right now. Right now.
So that's not discourse, it's demand. It's based on the idea that empathy cannot cross ethnic lines, never to be bridged by white people, for the advice given is tainted by evil white privilege. The cowards of the left resist pointing out that this is sanctioned bullying, a suspension of civility in favor of intimidation. Perhaps they expect incivility from BLM, which to me is racist. Allowing their rudeness means you think they can't handle manners. And while few do listen to polite protesters, who can stand loud jerks? I know from personal experience around Brian. Hillary's response revealed division's ultimate impasse. Why should whites talk to you if you think whites are all bad? Enlistment rests on the shoulders of brave but persuasive voices, those who win converts and create conversations. It's something an activist might seek unless it's not what they really want. If the goal is not to improve but implode the system, then words are just warm-ups to flames. So, Juan, you're an African-American, or so you claim.
According to my mama.
Yes. What do you make of, I'm torn with BLM because I think that they look and saw how gay rights in the 70s and 80s, by becoming aggressive, got to where they were. During the AIDS crisis.
I wish they were that thoughtful, because I just think this is such a losing hand. And I'm so pleased that you took this up, because I know it was painful for you, and I think it was painful for you to agree with Hillary, painful for me to agree with you.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, hold off the doctors. I am agreeing with you. I just think that Hillary Clinton looked like she was confident and she knew what she was saying. And at one point she says, oh, so in other words, you just want lip service. We can fill up Yankee Stadium with a bunch of white people. Oh, and if they give you lip service, that's going to be to your delight. Well, there was a T-shirt at one of these things that said, not your mama's civil rights movement. Well, you wish it was your mama's civil rights movement. They got voting rights, housing rights, public accommodation. It could go on and on. They can't even give you an agenda. So when Hillary says, tell me what you want, I'm not trying to tell black people what to do. I'm just saying, what is it that you want concretely? They can't come up with it, Greg.
I think you should pull that bite for Fox and Friends in the morning. That was hot.
Yeah, I don't think I can improve on anything that Juan just said.
When I do the Chiron,
just go to break or show videos. I don't know.
How about the term "all lives matter" is considered a violent statement to all?
I don't know how they expect Americans to get behind something when you're saying in a room all American lives matter and people start screaming. Their message is too muddled. It reminds me of Occupy Wall Street. I think it's probably going to go the same way that Occupy Wall Street did.
There probably is an overlap there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all fueled by by progressive radicalism that is I guess, against the system.
Right.
And you try to subvert the system, Brian, in any way you can.
I mean, put it this way. I think I like the same thing you liked about Hillary Clinton. She would channel Donald Trump and Governor Christie, where he was honest. He got mad at the teachers. He wasn't putting on a show. He was really mad at the teachers' unions. Donald Trump was really mad at Frank Luntz, and he was really mad at whoever. He let you have it, and then he brought it, Chuck Todd, and then he brought it out. He confronted it. She finally said, all right, I'll just fill it up with white people, and then maybe it'll make you happy.
I liked
the realness.
that. That was my favorite Hillary moment, I have to say.
Whoever you are, we'd like to know. And then we could make the choice who we want to vote for. You can't keep worrying about persona and perception.
But I think
and what
she's
people
seeing
want.
how divisive the movement is. It's not, inclusive whatsoever. She probably went there with like a dozen poll-tested phrases of what would make, them happy, but none of it worked. They're disrespectful to Bernie Sanders. They're like shouting down and attacking people that are trying to be supportive of their cause.
Only I can be disrespectful to
Well, here's the thing.
Here's like a comedian of sorts.
So this is the point. Your point about there being disrespectful, I just don't buy that, because I think that then you sacrifice the moral high ground in any conversation. As
But there's
Greg was
a right
saying,
way to
you
do
give
it.
up.
Yeah.
Well, there's a way to cause disruption, to say I have a protest and I want people to pay attention. They're getting attention, I'll say that for them, but they're doing it in such a way that they're hurting their own cause.
But it also took way too long to get to the point. I watched the entire videos. It's like if you're in front of a presidential candidate, you got to get your sound bites quickly. This took, I think it took like 8 minutes to
The
ask
worst sin was they were boring.
But here's the thing. Where are the Republicans? Not one Republican. Hillary at least met with them. Not one Republican has met with these guys.
Jeb?
No.
Jeb? Wait,
They did try to shout at Jeb.
Yeah. By the way, I got to
No, but
take a
Jeb
break.
said that he would meet with them privately and go ahead and sit down.
But,
He wanted
okay.
to hear what they had to say,
Well,
but
if
then
this
they don't
is-
want to do that because
If
they
this
want to
is
do
the
a show.
example,
and a
why would
circus.
Jeb do that?
Oh, you just
The other
can't. 'Cause he's gotta be
DLM also has
reasonable to
another
talk to them about the
problem.
issues.
One of their
No,
leaders,
that's-
Sean King, may have been lying about being black.
What do you mean?
That's a rising story
He's
right
not
now.
black?
Rachel Dolezal.
Yeah, he's like a male version of Rachel Dolezal. He hasn't admitted whether or not he's white or not, but it's bubbling up on Twitter.
Wait a minute. So
This
this
is
is
the
like
weirdest
you,
new
this
thing.
thing with you and your mom, and that you're really half black? Is that the same thing? Oh, no. Oh.
You never know what he's talking about.
All right, we heard enough of them. Ain't no ass Steppin, Marcus J. Live from the Den Legacy Internet Radio. A lot to respond to. We had the Black Lives Matter brother who interrupted Hillary Clinton, and I guess when she asked him, what he wanted, he tried to explain to her what he wanted. She got a little bit agitated with them, and then we listened to the round table. Grizz, you're up first.
Right.
How do we respond? It's a lot to respond to. You can go in any direction you like.
First direction I want to go in is, why does, and I want just media, I want conservative or liberal in the media want to downplay the Black Lives Matter movement. They try to disrepute it by saying that it's not organized. The whole theme through that whole segment I was listening to it was they're not organized. They don't have a plan. This is not your mother's civil rights movement or whatever. Well, no, it's not. And honestly, I'm a what generation are we? We Gen Xers, right?
We're X.
We're at Gen Xers. So these millennials are doing way more than us Gen Xers. It might be the Gen Xers that might be a part of the leadership, but our kids are the ones that's really swelling up with this Black Lives Matter movement. And just stop trying to, nobody tries to disrepute, let me try to get a good movement, the low tax conservative movement. Nobody's sitting there, trying to, they said in here to occupy the Wall Street movement and how they trying to downplay that as well. You don't hear nobody trying to downplay that, we have the Supreme Court case. What is that case where it says money is speech? What was that case? Anybody know what that case is?
Nah,
I don't care what that case is, because it doesn't, I don't have enough money to buy a politician off. But that's really at the heart of why we in the Black Lives Matter movement or any groundswell movement, they have to go up against major corporations that can put out gazillions and gazillions of dollars to get their message out, and to downplay it on national TV and to try to discredit them is, from whether it's Fox or MSNBC, is just ludicrous to me. And Hillary Clinton should have had a better response, or she should have been better prepared for that response if she's running for president. Word is that Joe Biden might get in that. We got our choices, but I'll say that for another day. Thank you.
Diva?
I just, listening to all that chaos and stuff, I just have my opinion about the all lives matter versus the Black Lives Matter. I feel like the all lives matter is just a deflection. Nobody thought about that movement in the beginning, and it was just something that they created to deflect the Black Lives Matter so that we could say, oh, you're just saying this group. It should be everyone. Nobody cared about that before.
Right.
You know, but all of a sudden, the people that are against the Black Lives Matter movement, all of a sudden, oh, we need to think about everybody's rights and everybody.
Why is that, though? It's a racist country. It's such a racist country.
That's all it is.
No, I agree. And I think that any time that, you know, and I know my white brothers and sisters, you know, many of you have already deleted me from social media. That's fine. You know, I
you
can
think that's for?
I can dig it. You know, and it's all good. I wear my Malcolm X T-shirt in my photographs. It makes you uncomfortable. It's all good. I still love you, and hopefully you still love me. Just
they don't love you,
just, you know, when I see you and you act funny, when I see you, then I know that you heard the show.
Right.
It's all good. You know, but I still love you. But here's the deal. You know, when we say Black Lives Matter, you know, everybody has their own kind of interpretation of why they want to be a part of the Black Lives Matter movement. And one of the key things for me when I see Black Lives Matter is white people not dying at the hands of police the way black people are.
Right.
Now, detractors, many of them white and some of them black, will say, well, blacks is killing blacks too. Why you don't say that? Well, the reason for that is because Pookie, when he kills Day-Day, Pookie get caught and Pookie go to jail.
Mm-hmm.
Officer goes home on paid administrative leave when he kills Pookie or Day-Day. That's one of the main differences. Also, when we did a study on this show from 1 year to 1 year, from the day Michael Brown died last year in Ferguson, Missouri, to 1 year later, you know, a whole year passed, and over 1,000 people. I don't have the actual figures, but we did the actual figures in the previous show. Go back and listen to that because we want you to listen to the previous shows too. But 1,000 people were killed by the police. Now, first of all, that's a whole lot less than people that are being killed by people of Middle Eastern descent, which is another story altogether because how they got you all brainwashed to think that you need to be scared of Muslim people. Yeah, they wild out and they blow up shit, but cops killing 1,000 people in a year cops killing 1,000 people in a year. I say shit every once in a while. That's worse. 3 people a day getting killed by the police. Yeah, half of them is white, and that's really bad. But guess what? It's more of y'all. And if you look at those numbers, you'll see that we, as black folk, are more than 2.5 times more likely to be the ones that are killed by the police. So when we say Black Lives Matter, that's what we're talking about, especially when we hear things like 9/11, never forget. Holocaust, never forget. Great Depression, never forget. Slavery, y'all need to get over that, man. Why y'all tripping?
That can't happen.
You know, this is what Black Lives Matter is about. That's why we say Black Lives Matter. This is why, now, there's some people who are at the forefront of the Black Lives Matter movement, and you may not like their antics, you may not like their tactics. Cool, I can dig it. I don't care, but I can dig it. But the reality is, for the average person to say Black Lives Matter and for you to completely get all in your feelings, white person, I'm not sure that I can have any empathy for you, especially when you're the host of that show that we were just listening to, Melissa Francis, who, she was on Little House on the Prairie as a little girl, by the way. Yeah. She says it's uncomfortable. Sometimes you feel like it's hard to say anything right. And then you've got Kimberly Guilfoyle. She said you've got to be inclusive. White people, I think it's insulting to say white people don't understand. What are you talking about? You're part of the problem. Then if you're speaking and labeling all white people, saying they don't understand the issue or saying they can't relate, that's really not giving people much credit, is it? The way I respond to that is, the truth of the matter is, maybe you don't understand, because I think you oftentimes have to be affected by something before you can really, really dig the seriousness of it. You know, if you go and you look at the television and you see, you know, something going on in another country, black person, white person, whatever, you're like, wow, that's cold-blooded that they had that tsunami in whatever country that is. That's bad. But if you had a tsunami in your own neighborhood, you feeling that. You like, word, what's going on? So that's the difference. Yeah. You know, and if you feeling some kind of way about being a part of the discussion, then maybe you shouldn't. maybe you shouldn't feel some kind of way about it, because I don't think that you can get any kind of progress unless you have dialogue.
I mean, let me explain something to the white folk out here. This is going to put a little bit of ammunition behind your argument that all lives matter, and this is going to give you a little ammunition on how we can say, how you could say, well, you are being insensitive to minorities. Look, as I got older, growing up in the South and living throughout the mainly New York City and Washington D.C. and other places on the East Coast, and then the smallest town I ever lived in, it was where I was born in Richmond, Virginia. And I just noticed one thing, one constant thing: how segregated how segregated these cities were still to this day, based on, first, color lines, and second, based on economic lines. If you go through this city today, and Mark, me and you probably can attest to this, and I don't know if you probably can attest to this, on your block, how many black people on your block? Oh, you live in a newer joint, right?
Where I live at now?
Yeah.
Oh, it's mostly black, bro.
Most black folks. See, you chose wisely.
Yeah,
for me, this is the first time I've been the minority on my block, And that's you. And trust me, I wouldn't be surprised in the next 10 years that the for sale signs will be going up because they want to sell. It's always good. I'm talking about white flight. It always enamors me when white folks see one person of color move into their neighborhood or their community, and then all of a sudden they go to another community. Why is that? Why is that? Y'all know?
They already assume that we're going to come in there and tear up and cause all kinds of problems.
Well, I ain't told my house yet.
Well, I actually was listening to one of my radio mentors, Joe Madison, talk about this earlier today, and he had people on the show talking about how when they sell their houses, the realtors are telling them to remove the photographs of themselves and their families, take any paraphernalia that would make you seem black, so that when they bring people in to sell the house, they don't know who's selling it, and that's crazy to me.
No, this is real talk.
Oh, well, yeah, it's real talk, but it's just this the shit we deal with, white folk. I mean, again, if you're uncomfortable and you don't want to talk about it, then I think that makes you more part of the problem than solution, because you're not talking to somebody, me as Marcus J, that hates you.
No,
if you're a white person, I don't hate you because you're a white person. I don't hate you any more than I hate anybody else. I don't hate anybody. My deal is, if you do right by me and you do right by mine, we good, white or black. But if you black and you see a problem and you act like it's not there, I'm gonna have the same problem that I have with you that I have with a white person who sees racism and walks by it or acts like he or she don't see it.
And trust me,
that's my problem.
He will do that because he gets on me about my 4-letter words and then bomb dropping and this, that, and the third. But I'm curious, because I have Caucasian friends, or socially, I have Caucasian people I hang out with, associates, and when I go in their neighborhoods, it's all white. It's all white, and it's all right to them. And I've noticed the economical lines, like now, it used to be, and I'm just speaking about in Richmond, Virginia, you new to the town, but
man, I've been here 23 years.
23,
knock it off.
I keep saying that.
Knock it off.
It used to be the train tracks. Now it's the interstates.
We got train tracks in Jersey City too.
So
I know what you're talking about.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. So just to give fuel to the fodder of the conservatives and the whites and the man in Boaz, Alabama, that want to what I'm hip to what you're doing. You can't run. You can't exurb yourself. Is it exurbs?
Nope. But we understand what you're trying to say.
It's suburbs and exurbs, because that's what they have now. We have exurbs now. We don't have suburbs. The suburbs belong to the people of color now. So the exurbs are, you got to move way out to get away from them.
Ain't no how stepping with Marcus J every day, because Grizzly is the smartest man in the room. Ain't no how stepping with Marcus J live from the den.
No, I'm not.
Legacy Internet Radio. We're going to take our first break of the night. And when we come back,
he breathed.
I want to introduce y'all to the newest candidate for president of the United States. His name is very interesting. I also want to have a very, very brief chat about the IRS and televangelists, because This is something very interesting. We've talked about religion on the show, but we're going to talk about it in a way we haven't in a very, very long time. And what these folks were saying at a rally in Alabama for Donald Trump will make you question any allegiance that you may have to him as a potential candidate for president as well. Marcus J. Grizz, Data Pool Diva. You got the Diva Diaries coming up later on. Ain't No Half Step on Marcus J. Live from the Den, Legacy Internet Radio. Be back in a few minutes. Stay with us.